How you doing, everyone? It's me, TheDomotaku, and I just got back from PROMARE Redo, the special comeback viewing of PROMARE. So they have today is the 8th, which is sub. I'm assuming tomorrow will be a dub showing. So yeah, I just watched PROMARE for the second time ever. And to this time, they actually included a special like OVA small thing called Side Story Galo. I know of these things. There exists a Side Story Galo OVA thing and a Side Story Leo sort of thing. I didn't see the Leo one, and it's somewhere out there for, I don't know, Blu-ray release or whatever. But I saw the Galo one. They played it before the actual movie, and there's some interesting stuff in there. Just minor stuff. It's nothing like plot, spoilerly talk thing. But I thought it kind of enhanced my viewing of PROMARE overall the second time. So I'm just gonna talk about my thoughts about the movie and just how watching the special OVA thing too, along the SideGalo story with the movie, and this might involve spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie, then probably don't look at this video. I have a separate video review thing for non-spoiler talk and then spoilers again, but this is just the Side Story Galo along with my movie experience the second time, because I made the first video with just one watch, and this is my second watch, and I had a little bit more to, comprehend because I already know what happens in the movie. So, funny story, when we played the movie, right, so they played the Side Story OVA SideGalo, and then it was in subbed, right, and then when we watched the movie, it was in dub, which was weird because I swear I paid tickets for a subbed movie. So then 15 minutes later in the movie, they stopped the film and just like, oh, sorry, we played the wrong movie. We have to pause it and change the film to put the subs instead of the dubs. So that was funny. I don't blame the theaters part. That might be delaying other movies for that room or that theater room. But I mean, I'm patient, guys. So I just waited and was like, okay, this calls for a bathroom break and a snack break. And I just did that, and then they replayed the movie from the side story. So they played the side story, then the movie. So they replayed it from the Side Story OVA, then the movie. So we had like an extra 25 minutes about in the viewing. So that kind of extended the whole thing of me staying there. But it's whatever. So the Side Story Galo thing. This if you haven't seen my previous video or review on PROMARE, then I rated it really highly. Honestly, the second viewing, I still really like this movie. I still really felt emotional watching this movie, and it was still really good. Except back in my first viewing, I thought there was a sort of lack of character development or character, background and more screen time for the rest of the Burning Rescue members. So you have Varus, Raimi, and Ignis, Lucia, and there's Aina, but just the whole team, right? But then in the Side Story Galo thing, you have a really interesting thing here that you get to see. So I'm gonna talk about it. If you don't want to know what happens in the Side Story Galo thing, then click off this video and just wait for it on Blu-ray or something like that. But I'm gonna be talking about what happens in this video or this Side Story thing. So I'm assuming the Side Story thing, spoilers, is like before the events of the movie. Well, clearly it is, but I mean, it might take like a few days just before the movie, I think, from the looks of it, because the Side Story Galo thing actually has Galo on his first day of the job, and I was like super surprised because I was like, whoa, so Galo just got recruited by Governor Cray, into the Burning Rescue team, and they just oh, this guy, he needs experience, and you guys are looking for people. Here's him, and you can't refuse him. Just take him. And that's where we finally meet Galo for the first time with his Matoi spear, and him being how he is with his personality and stuff. And at first, the crew actually thought he's an idiot, right? And he's kind of stupid and just thinking too emotionally and stuff and not thinking rationally. He might he might not be taking this really seriously. So after they get the introduction thing, and he introduces himself about how he really wanted this job, and he really begged Governor Cray for it because how he saved his life and stuff. He wants to save people. So that was really cool meeting Galo for the first time, because in the movie you meet Galo just because he shows up in the truck and he's just like, oh, it's time to extinguish the fire. But this is his actual technical origin story, to a sense. and it's really cool. So afterwards, you know, they're meeting, and then an emergency happens, like a fire happens, and they're all about to leave him because he's a rookie, right? And technically in the movie he still is a rookie, so it might be like a few days after this whole OVA thing. But yeah, he's like about to get left behind. It's like, yeah, you stay here, rookie, you don't know what you're doing. Except, you know, eventually they bring him in because it's like, how am I gonna improve myself if you guys keep me, you know, locked up in the building, and how am I supposed to get experience doing this thing if you don't take me with you? So he finally goes. He's just sitting in the truck with Lucia and just like really like impatient because he wants to do something and help while there's a fire and stuff. So we get more stuff with like the crew, you know, saving people, fighting the fires, and we actually see the two Burnish, Mad Burnish, what do you call it? The characters. So it's not Leo, it's his two friends. I forgot their names. It's like Guevara and like something. I forgot their names, but we see them, and they're the ones causing the fire in this scene. And then essentially, you know, they're fighting them, and you know, fighting the fires, and someone is trapped in like a different floor in the fire, and that's when Galo, you know, comes in because like everyone else is distracted by containing the fire and doing rescue. So he goes in without a suit, like a mech suit. He just goes in with like the green gel that can extinguish the fire and cool you down. He just goes in with that and his little spear thing. It's not even the mech spear he has in the movie. He's just like a little like spear that he made out of himself to, you know, because he likes Matoi and stuff. So yeah, that shit, he like had a grappling hook and he just goes in the fire like head first, and then like he was about to be attacked by some like PROMARE dragon fire, Burnish dragon flames and stuff, but he held his ground with just his stick or his Matoi thing, and essentially he rescues the person and makes an awesome escape for his first job. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. We're actually seeing Galo's first job as a Burnish rescue member. And essentially, after he rescues this scientist lady or whatever, she actually turns into a Burnish. She like unlocks her powers on the scene after getting rescued. And then that was a nice thing on the cake. And I'm pretty sure this person makes an appearance in the movie. I'll talk about that later. So afterwards, she turns into a Burnish. They like try to like, you know, restrain her, but then Leo's friends, the Mad Burnish again, come over and take her and then rescue her. Then they drive off to the distance for who knows what. And that is essentially the end of this OVA, which was really good. I must say it was really good for like, you know, just a 20 minute little episode thing, which is like, you know, in my original video, I said that I feel like this would have been, you know, because it sort of lacked like a lot of development, maybe. Like, you know, I was trying to imagine like PROMARE as an anime series where you can take time developing all these things versus the movie. But I mean, the movie experience is still really good, and this side story thing that they had was really good also. And you know, I don't see it being placed in the film like along with the film. That's why it's a special side story thing. Because if you put this and then play the movie, which is essentially what they did, it kind of feels off a bit because you already know all this, like, you know, the Burnish and who Galo is and all that stuff. Whereas when you watch the movie the first time, you have this introduction thing with like the news and like these black and gray stuff. Like, you know, oh, people suddenly got these flames and, you know, the world got, you know, world magma thing, whatever. And then it just starts you off in the city, and then, you know, something happens, and then you see the characters for the first time. So it's really weird placing this with the movie, which is why I see they kind of did like a special like side story thing. But essentially this girl, I'm pretty sure, makes an appearance in the movie. So this lab scientist lady that they rescue from this incident in the OVA, or a special side story thing, is shown in the movie. And I think it's the person that dies in the cave with Leo. So Leo's trying to save this lady in the cave by kissing her. And I think that was her, because like, I don't know if it was me or not, but like, you know, because they had bandages and they're like, you know, injured and stuff. So I couldn't really tell if it was them, but I thought it was them. And I'm just like, oh, you know, that's the chick from the side story, which, you know, adds a lot more experience from what I watched versus the first time I watched this. So yeah, the side story thing was overall good, and they have some elements and stuff that transferred over in the film that really kind of enhanced my viewing of it. And I'm just like, wow, this is really, really good. You know, too bad they didn't have this side story thing the first time I watched PROMARE. You know, it was just, this is whatever. But it makes me really interested to see what happens in the side story Leo thing, because it might be a prequel to how they, you know, execute their plan to, you know, like the planning to get caught by Galo and them and stuff. Then, you know, how they're trying to rescue their people. That might be a cool little side story thing for, and more development for Leo. So that's really cool. What else? What else? That's really it for the side story thing. Going back to my second viewing of PROMARE, or second viewing of PROMARE, I still thoroughly enjoyed PROMARE, watching it a second time. I knew things would happen and blah 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 and stuff, but like I was still, once again, entertained throughout the whole thing. I was never bored watching it a second time. Even when they had the dubs on and they had to like play, like we played like 15 minutes of the movie about, or maybe 25. And then they cut it off and it was like, oh sorry, we had to change the film. I wasn't bored, you know, you get to see the introduction of the movie again, and it has a pretty cool introduction in my opinion, and like, you know, I wasn't bored watching it like 3 times in a row or whatever, or 3 times. And like throughout the whole movie, it was just super excited and entertained. And you know, some parts actually hit a bit more emotional for me, even though I've seen it already. Like when Leo and his Burnish brothers get captured in towards the middle or towards the end. Like, you know, I got a little bit emotional, more than I think than my first viewing, which I don't remember too much well. But I really loved this movie, and honestly, this is like really making me want to buy the Blu-ray. And the soundtrack is just so damn good. You know, Hiroyuki Sawano in this just hits everything. Everything from the first viewing hits again, and I felt emotional and entertained throughout the whole thing, even though I watched it like about 2.5 times with the dub thing. The dub wasn't too bad. I mean, I only watched like first 25 minutes of it, but I mean, for the dub, it's okay. I don't see a problem with it. I'm trying to think of anything I said in the first video and bring it here. I don't really, so like my, so this is hard. So I'm trying to think of any like negatives or anything like I didn't like about the film, or like anything, you know, to critique or anything like that. But I really can't think of anything in this film. Like, I was entertained and nothing seems boring and nothing seemed really pointless to me. So it sounds like to me this would be like a 10 out of 10 sort of case, even after my second viewing. And I mean, yes, the whole SideGalo thing is a separate thing, which enhanced my viewing of the second time. But like, I guess that might be why, you know, just getting more like stuff is always great. But if I'm just judging the movie by itself, ooh, actually that might be a thing, yeah. Yeah, that might, because I guess, so compared to the first time when I watched it and this second viewing that I did, I really enjoyed this one a lot more, I think, than my first viewing. And I think it's because you get a little bit more because of the side story Galo thing, because it sort of enhanced the first version, but then it's because I already watched the first version. I don't know, guys. Like, I'm really trying to find like critiques or negatives about the film, but I honestly can't name any on the top of my head. Like, I really didn't think any part was pointless. I didn't think any part of the movie was boring. I was entertained throughout the whole thing, even though it's the second time I watched this. Like, I just can't find any reason to not give this like a perfect 10 out of 10, in my opinion. I don't know, guys. I'm trying to think of anything, but like, that's up to you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about this movie. If you guys watched it a second time or just one time, then you can continue here on this video. But yeah, the second viewing of PROMARE's Redo was pretty cool. And wow, Trigger, you done a Trigger. And I would buy the Blu-ray and soundtrack. Soundtrack is probably really good. So there's that. I have nothing else to say anymore. So that is it for PROMARE's Redo, along with the side story Galo OVA episode thing. So let me know what you guys thought, if you guys watched it or not. If you guys have seen the side story Leo one, then feel free to, don't spoil it, I guess, but like, I really want to know what you guys thought about it, then how you watched the movie. If you guys watched the Redo along with the side story thing, let me know how you guys felt watching it a second time, or like, you know, watching this movie for the first time with the side story Galo thing before the movie. Because, you know, honestly, for me, it just enhanced my second viewing of it. And the second viewing of it, I feel really more I feel like I enjoyed it more the second time for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's because the first time I was just trying to understand everything. But then the second time I can just sit back casually and just like, oh yeah, I know what this happens. And I'm just sitting the film and watching it and just enjoying it. So, you know, I don't know. It's really weird. But let me know your thoughts about it in the comments. I'll see you guys later for another video on my channel. So take care, guys. See you later.